to wind down a little bit with some Final Fantasy. I have managed to complete a big edit for a book, so I'm going to allow myself to stay up a little bit later than I normally would to play this game. So, Budding Bodyguards, Church Chapel, yes. Pick up where I left off. So this should be good. Sector 5 slums. The vast shantytown beneath the Sector 5 plate. Its streets are a confusion of jerry-built homes. Made of waste material and refuse, an orphanage has been erected here, which many of the slums' children call home. In the outskirts of the area, one can find a dilapidated church sitting quietly amongst the ruins. What's up, Jared? Yeah, an okay day. It's busy. Actually, I had to go to the grocery store. But you know, I was like, I don't want to put on a mask and go to a grocery store. So here's our church. You know, it looks...
Just when I had finished tending the flowers here.
I think she gets angry. Angry if you like walk.
Me, myself, and I.
She's saying that so oddly. You know, it's clearly like a joke. You know, this kind of reminds me of like the church in like some Lovecraft stories. You know, like dilapidated churches. It's not even England. Well, good morning, Pupper.
I could stick around a bit.
Really? You will? In that case...
Man, she is way too happy to have him stick around.
I'll see myself in. Thanks.
Look at this guy.
And who are you?
He's got like the steampunk goggles on his head.
And a soldier. Pretty cool, huh?
Huh? A soldier?
Nice. Soldier.
Well, what do you know? You've got the eyes, at least.
You don't mind, do you? Bodyguard work's not too different from merc stuff, right? I guessed. From the sword.
The boots and the dress have like a certain cuteness to it.
Fine, but it'll cost you.
It's like the mismatched outfit has like a there's a kawaii to it.
Ought to do it.
Huh. Well, you're weird enough to be one. What class?
This guy's got a mullet. This guy's got a rockin' mullet.
Bullshit me. At least try to make it believable.
Hey, watch the flowers.
You heard the lady.
Well, she definitely looks better than she did in the original game. You know, but she does have more than like 10 polygons making up her model. So that helps. You know?
Really? Since when? This is the first I've heard of it.
This is possible.
I don't think that counts then.
Get ready. It's over.
Hey! Little help in here, guys?
Let's get this over with.
Where's this guy? Oh, more guys. To triple slash.
All right. Enough.
More bad guys coming?
That'll do.
Good old what's his face.
There he is.
I hate doing cleanup, but I'm damn good at it.
Yeah, if you have a sword big enough to be a shield, it helps things. Just use it as a shield.
Wow, be careful.
And that's actually something that's totally from Berserk, by the way.
Need a light?
Let me see where... Oh, he's over there. I wonder if I can assess him.
Allow me.
Magic and lightning attacks have only a slight effect on his stagger gauge, huh? An operative with the Turks unit of Shinra's General Affairs Division, fast and extremely agile. He leaps into attack with a special Shinra-made security baton. Well, luckily I didn't equip a lightning materia.
Let's do this. Anytime now. Calling fire. I see.
I'm right here. Really?
Time to burn. You're done.
Oh, there's a little X sign on his little bar there, which means like you can't damage him during that from that point. All right. So
Do you really
interesting.
want to clear the flowers?
So I'm guessing I have to avoid those.
It's over.
Oh, can I attack these? Oh, I can attack the mines too.
Come on.
Not so tough now.
All right.
Let's go.
Hey,
Don't step on the flowers. Hey, I'm fighting for my life here, baby.
Need a light.
You know, it'd be really nice if you just could recognize the reality of me kicking ass for you, you know?
Time to burn.
Heads up. Forward that.
Anytime now.
Pop a potion.
Anytime now.
Ooh, that hurt.
Feeling all right there, Mr. Bodyguard?
Oh, I might die here. Ooh, limit burst, cross slash, Reno.
Get serious.
Oh, that ended the fight. There we go. Good job. You are now my WoW background noise.
You've got it all wrong, man.
Yeah, man, I played WoW back before YouTube was a thing. So the WoW background noise was like music that you know, either bought the CDs for or like illegally downloaded.
Are you hurt?
You know, people didn't have second monitors.
I'm fine. Go
I remember when I got a second monitor in like 2008. It was like, oh my god, this is like the greatest thing ever. I could like have a video on the other monitor.
The hell?
Started watching like Star Trek while playing World of Warcraft
They're not attacking.
and Aeon. And what else did I play?
Come on.
A couple other games like that. Look at all the ghosts. Cure myself up here. Up here, the ghosts. This great music, man. Listen to those choirs. Wait, should I go up the stairs? No, I can't. I don't think I can go down there either. I think the ghosts block me. Yeah, they do.
Huh?
Are they trying to stop
Just like before.
What
Okay.
do they want?
through the attic? Maybe we can get out that way.
Right. Through that hole.
Okay, so how do we get up there? Oh, the ghost saved her. Thanks, Dementor. Oh, he's friendly. He's a little friendly one. I'll go this way. Is there like another stairway up? No. It showed me where to go, but I don't know how to get there. Casper the Friendly Ghost. I don't like the fixed cameras. They're not that fixed, but like when they do fix the camera, when the camera is like stuck, it's annoying in a game like this. Just my opinion, that it's an annoying thing to do. You know, I kind of like it's a game, I should be able to choose what I look at. It's kind of what I think. And overall, the camera's pretty good in this game. You know, no complaints. Sometimes, some studios make some weird decisions for cameras. Make it so like cameras are fixed, or
I'll go first.
like the right stick doesn't move a camera. Whenever you come into a game like that, it's just like really frustrating. I was playing Overlord with my son the other day.
Come on.
And that's what it's like. You have to like hold down like the R1 trigger and then move the right stick to look around. Otherwise, you can never really look at your environment.
Hey, no shooting.
No shooting.
Hey.
So it's
you
like
okay?
people casually shoot and don't suffer any kind of dramatic damage to their hearing.
If there's
It's
so
like
much as a scratch on her.
shooting that gun inside in the church. It would be so deafening. Oh my god.
In one piece. What now?
Run! Move and I'll shoot!
Oh no, you won't.
But sir!
Oh wait, there's treasure behind him.
Could drop that.
Wait, what am I doing? I have to save her, so I'm gonna go here.
What's the holdup? I can't get to her.
Oh, I see. Now I gotta use the camera to look at the ceiling. Man, this guy's really got to be super strong. You see something like this and you remember doing it as like a 5-year-old. You're like, yeah, I used to play on the monkey bars. It's like, this is exhausting as an adult male with an adult physique doing stuff like this. It really is. You have to, you know, you got to be like have really a lot of upper body strength to move your body weight around like this as an adult. It's just it's just like a by the way. Okay, do I drop down? Do I go over this way?
Over there!
What do I do? I'll go to her over there. Okay. I don't think it's hurting me. Oh no, it is. It's definitely hurting me. This guy is such a Chad to just like, I'm just gonna climb on these on this ceiling while people shoot at me.
Thank you.
Let's move.
But yeah, monkey bars are like, doing stuff like that is really hard as an adult. And I think it was actually probably pretty hard as a kid, but somehow as an adult, like the strength is not, you know, it's not linear. It's like as a kid, you know, doing monkey bars, you're moving around like 40 pounds. It's like as an adult, you're moving around 220 if you're big. Like me.
But sir!
Oh, you have to go back for the orb afterwards. Okay. Yeah. I've talked about gun noise. I did like a whole video on like, don't be a gun noob when writing
It's like
about
they're
guns.
guiding us.
Stay close.
So cool.
A lot of people who just don't have gun experience, like Hollywood's really bad about guns, and it comes from, it's not because they're complete idiots. Like they actually hire people who are experts, but there's this idea that what is accurate is not dramatic. So they tend to go with like very dramatic things that, you know, you would never do. You know, actors hold the guns with terrible trigger discipline, for example. Trigger discipline would be, you know, you don't put your finger on the trigger until you intend to fire your weapon. So if you're walking around with your finger on the trigger, and there's actually a really, it's like a plot point in Pulp Fiction, is that John Travolta's character accidentally shoots another character because he's being unsafe with his gun, and he accidentally kills another person, kills him, and it causes a lot of problems. And I don't know if that was like Quentin Tarantino actually thinking about that, or if it was like something else. Like he just didn't realize that somebody with that amount of gun experience probably would never have done that to begin with. But it could just be like the gangsters don't really have any gun training and have no idea what they're doing, which might be accurate, you know. Like when I think of...
Yeah, I think so.
What are they?
I think... Actually, I don't know. Let's just go.
Maybe you actually get to not have Eris die in this one. That would be nice. Can you talk more about Neil Druckmann and this agenda pushing in media in general, forced agenda? You know, I talked a little bit about on Twitter today. It's a kind of why the left can't meme. I had a lefty come in and say the reason the left can't meme is that they are obsessed with their message.
Let's.
You know, they don't put the point of the medium first. So they write a comic, and the comic isn't funny. You know, they write a comic strip that's not funny. Their point isn't to write a joke. Their point is to get some kind of message across.
What's next for you?
A little bit of bodyguard work.
Right.
After that, it's back to the Sector 7 slums.
You know how to get there?
Yep.
Of course you do.
She has like a very overly sweet voice. I don't think it's a bad thing. It just, you know, kind of reminds me of my wife if she's being like artificially sweet to me, like as a joke. You know, it's a little melodramatic, I guess.
That suit from earlier. He was one of Shinra's Turks.
So my wife has a very high voice,
What's
too.
a Turk want with you?
Dunno. Hey, don't Turks keep an eye out for potential soldiers and stuff?
They do more than just scout for candidates. Turks get called in to handle all kinds of situations with extreme prejudice.
Extreme prejudice. I like that.
Bad guys. Gotta love them.
Back to my question. So what's he to you? Looked like you knew each other.
Maybe he thought I could be the
You're right,
greatest
it's not just the
soldier yet.
left, but I think when it comes to trying to make memes, the left is too focused on the message. For sure, dude, they're like, I mean, what is most of Ayn Rand's entire catalog is completely forgetting about the craft of writing a book to push an agenda. Like, you totally have it on the right, too. It's just, right now, it's way worse on the left by a lot. So that, and remember, they have a moral, they're doing this for, like, moral reasons. So, you know, they have a moral impulse to have the agenda in everything they do because it's right and proper and it's a good thing to have the agenda, rather than, you know, someone on the right wing, if they're making a right wing meme, it's an attempt to be funny and the message kind of goes along with that. And you wouldn't even bother making the meme if you couldn't make it memorable. If you couldn't point to the truth quickly, the meme just wouldn't exist. The left tries to force memes because they just don't really care about like the meme itself. They just kind of care about the agenda way more. So, I mean, it's a really good point. My bigger point is that the left has such a complex form of semiology now. Like, they're so deep in the doublethink and newspeak that it's literally impossible to communicate the modern ideas of the left quickly and succinctly. Just look at a word like justice or social justice, right? They modify all these words. Social justice is a concept that's impossible to communicate quickly and easily because it's just built on
traveled by rooftop before.
Foundation of nonsense.
If you had.
It's honestly kind
I'm
of
going to listen to her voice a little
Well,
bit.
first time and all.
By the way, what I'm going to say here, I'm just going to just a little aside back to the game. That's what women's voices actually sound like if you bother to listen to them. Hollywood and a lot of these voice acting studios that really aren't Funimation, and I know like people don't like Funimation dubs, but for whatever reason the female voice actors in Funimation don't sound like men. But if you listen to Hollywood actresses, they push their voices down, and I don't know why, but it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound the way a woman naturally sounds when she talks. You know, my wife has a high voice. She's a soprano. You know, most women have a pretty high voice. That's their natural talking voice. And there's been a trend to push it down. If you want to hear one that's ridiculous, you can listen to this CEO. I think her name's Elizabeth Holmes. And she was the CEO of a company called Theranos that was just like a huge fraud. You listen to her talk, and it's hilarious. It's like she tries to talk like this. Hearing a woman try to talk in a low voice, it just sounds bizarre and hilarious. But a lot of actresses do that, and I really don't know why. I don't know if they're like trying to not sound feminine, or they think like a raspy low voice sounds sexy or something.
Give me a moment.
It really doesn't, you know, to me. Like, to me, the voice of Eris sounds a lot more, you know, feminine and enticing than like a low, raspy smoker's female voice, you know.
Words of a soldier candidate?
So petty.
You know, that kind of artificial sweetness and melodrama. That's kind of something that women will do when they're flirting. And I think the melodrama is just like working. Anyway. Yeah, my bigger point is that the semiology, the system of symbols that make the ideology of the modern left, you know, this is no longer like si se puede. This is like super complex definitions of words built upon altered definitions of other words. The layers of newspeak are so thick,
no one live in these
and the
buildings?
cognitive dissonance is so deep that they're completely unable to communicate things in a short format. It has to be an essay. Everything has to be an essay. Everything has to be like a full movie to try to communicate it, a giant lecture, you know. Whereas normal concepts are easily understood. The truth is simple. And it's lies that are complex.
Easy now.
You worry too much. I'm not some princess who needs to be coddled. Shit.
Ooh, she said a naughty word. I guess I'll help you up. So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of words that you could think of for that, like justice. Justice, we have basic ideas of justice, and we could talk about them pretty easily. Social justice is not justice, though, and it's not social.
I thought about leaving once, but
same thing with racism. When someone says racist, we automatically understand that it means you don't like someone because they have different skin than you.
Bursting with life. Maybe
But
more than I can handle.
the definition of racism that comes from the left is so built on... I'm going to listen to this for a second.
But I don't. How could I? All that passion, all those dreams, flowing and blending together into something greater.
Anyway, yeah, it's you're built on so many different... There's a helicopter over there. Look at that. There's like a helicopter floating. Two of them. It's a little weird with this like beautiful music here. You have so many different words with so many different altered definitions. It really becomes a challenge to talk about what racism means. This is why, you know, it's like when they say you can't be racist against white people, they mean it. Like, they have constructed a definition of racism that's so far beyond what would be normally understood to be truth, that's easily communicated with a word like racism. Racism. Oh, I got what you mean immediately. I got a word and a suffix. I know what this term means, just based on my ability to understand what race means.
Maybe I'll go on ahead.
But for them,
I'll buy your loan
it contains so many different layers of meaning.
Maybe you
Of such like fine subtlety, it's impossible to communicate it simply.
Not for free.
Cheapskate. You're.
Oh, I shouldn't have gotten on the pipe. We're both gonna die, huh? No, he's gonna catch her and save her. It's gonna be like a very sweet little moment here. What about Jesse, bro? Jesse's all over you, dude. You can't just be like
Gotcha.
flirting with this girl.
You're killing me here.
Here goes nothing. Woo!
Femininity and masculinity are demonized by the left because they have different definitions of things. In fact, they have a different definition of the word freedom. Both sides are pursuing freedom, but of different things. Where the right is like, you should be free to do what you want as long as other people are free. And the left, it's more absolute. You should be free to just act with license. You should be able to do what you want. And any restrictions that are placed on you automatically reduce your freedom, including, your economic station. Like, if you're born poor, obviously you're less free than somebody who's born rich because you have fewer options. Whereas somebody from the right simply doesn't operate with those terms at all. They don't think of liberty or freedom in those terms whatsoever. They think of it totally as an absence of control rather than a lack or a availability of possibilities.
Moment with you.
They just talk past each other.
That a compliment?
Not really.
Thanks anyway.
See, the wink is good. They're going full kawaii with her. That's great.
We're getting closer to the station. Even so, we'll probably run into a few monsters on the way. Huh. There's a
Also-
face that screams, so what?
I fought scarier things in my sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, they've added the element of power to their definition of racism. The only way they can justify hating whites is a monolithic race. Yeah. It's that, like, you can't, racism is about power, or it's about, inherent differences, it's about established privilege, but even then, power, like what power means to them is different things to different people. So they built their entire system of categories to such a large degree on kind of just it looks like this, like it is the semiological equivalent of the slums we're looking at in this game.
Where are you going, Cloud?
I'm gonna go back and get that materia. Come on, bitch, this shit's worth money. Warning.
The station is the other way?
Oh, they don't even let you go. Okay, well, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save the game. Oh, I can't save the game there. There we go. I'm gonna save it right here. And then see what happens if I push that warning there. I think most of these man-hating feminist women want to look like Aerith. Of course they do. But, so, like, actually, let's talk about that. Because, for instance, fat privilege, or thin privilege. Sorry, thin privilege. Thin privilege is a thing,
Going, Cloud?
right? If you are thin, you have more possibilities available
That's
to
the way
you.
to the church.
People will like you more. I learned this from experience because I've been obese and I've also been, like, shredded. And you better believe I got a lot more what I wanted when I looked good. Like, more attention from men and women, people willing to do things for you. Like, if you've been on both sides of it, it's like night and day. Now, I bring that up because you can actually control your weight, and I know this because I've lost tons of weight. Your body is a function of what you do with it.
Look out, Cloud!
So there's always a possibility of, ooh, look at this cool thing. A hedgehog pie. Look at him. He looks cool. He looks like a demented, demonic version of Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's assess that hedgehog pie.
I got your number.
Ice attacks rapidly fill their stagger gauge. Knocking them off balance causes them to rampage, making them harder to stagger. Okay. He's like a fire element guy. Leveled up!
Someone looks
Woo.
like they're in their element.
Aerith has a stick. Okay. think I could put some materia in it. Prayer materia. Oh. Yeah, prayer, ice. Put in magic up. Alright. We'll do that. Okay. So yeah, anyway, I was talking about thin privilege, right? That's under your control. So the complaints about thin privilege really come down to a woman who is not thin or a man who is not thin complaining that he doesn't get to have sex with whoever he wants, right? Or that he gets treated worse because of his body. But it really comes down to, I don't get what I want because of my body, therefore we need to change people's thoughts about what...
Sorry.
About what's, what they're thinking. We need to make people want to have sex with fat people. We have to reprogram them.
Barracks, battlefields. That's the world I know.
You sound proud of that.
Yeah. Thought I saw another enemy, like, over here. Maybe not. Yeah, so that's the complaint, and it's the same with anything else. Like, men being masculine is a threat because unmasculine men don't get respect. Or unmasculine men can't do the same things a masculine man can. They're weaker and, like whatever you want to look at. Same thing with feminine women. Oh, if this girl only gets attention because she's pretty. Pretty privilege is a thing. Like, pretty women do have advantages. It would be stupid to say otherwise. But at the same time, to try to reprogram people to pretend that beauty doesn't exist
Thought the world you knew didn't include stations.
is ridiculous. What do I do here? Oh, there we go. Have to go through the fence here. So the complaint is that, me having poor looks limits my ability to sleep with whoever I want to. And so that's a problem inherent in society. The power dynamic shifted towards people who don't deserve it. Yada, yada, yada. It's really about wanting to get what you want, not operate within your limitations.
Yeah.
The conservatives think of liberty entirely based on, freedom to operate with your property and with your respective property and sets of limitations.
They know that. Don't worry.
They think of freedom purely as a political value, whereas the left thinks of freedom as a personal value. They personally value their ability to do whatever they want to do.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. Is there any debris at the church? Not debris. No.
That's something at least, but you may not be so lucky next time.
Okay, she had to chit-chat with some people.
Whoa, wait!
Let's see what we got here. Buy some stuff. Buy the song. I don't think there's anything else I need here. I have all this stuff. Alright. What time is it? Pretty late. Might go ahead and charge up here and save the game and call it. So yeah, my little... I was talking to Brian Niemeyer kind of off the record about this, and it's really, I mean, we talked about it on our last stream we did together. The left wants to act with license, that's kind of how they view the world. Is that some people have more options and other people have less options, and that's unequal, and that's a problem. And so the fat blue hairs are so angry because people don't like them. The world is unfair if I'm not liked because I'm ugly and fat. And the world isn't fair. Conservatives have no interest in making the world fair, really. Or not, I shouldn't say no interest. Their interest in making the world fair is fair with no negative trade-offs. It's like, if we can make things fairer and it doesn't harm a bunch of people, that's fine. But as soon as you start harming people, then it becomes that becomes your political issue. So the left wants to view freedom and personal license as something that's to be sought. Why should abortion be restricted? Because that would reduce the options for a woman. That's why it's called right to choose. It's really an evocation of the ability to have options. And so if you're to remove options from people, if you tell them that they have to take responsibility for certain actions, they have to do things, or they don't have an option if they're in certain situations, then that's against the ideology of the left. And the right doesn't really view it that way. For them, freedom's purely a political idea. So that would be like, we don't, we politically pursue freedom, but we don't personally pursue it. I'm married, so I don't cheat on my wife, right? I can't sleep with whomever I want to. And you see this too with, like, on the left, there's a lot more libertine lifestyles because it's a personal value. Well, I should be free to put whatever drugs I want to in my body. And a libertarian might say, well, yeah, you should be free because you own your body. But at the same time, you're not hurting anyone. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, then it's fine. That's how they kind of view that freedom. Where if it's like, hey, I want to, you could put it like this, somebody who wants to have a fulfilling career in art or music. The leftist fantasy is that anyone who wants to be an artist can be and make a living at it, and that's just nonsense. But that's what they pursue. That's why they fund the arts the way they do. It's why they have grants, giving $5,000 out for things like Piss Christ. It's because they live in this world where people should be able to get paid to be an artist because they want to. They should have the freedom to make art and not have to worry about a day job or something. And a conservative has the opposite view, which is like, you should be free to make whatever art you want, but we should also be free not to pay for it. And that other side of it is missing from the personal license view of freedom. And I should be able to do whatever I want. So you see things like open marriages, polyamory, that tends to be over on the left-hand side. That tends to be over with the more liberal-minded people, because the libertine lifestyle goes along with that personal value of freedom. I should personally be able to sleep with whomever I want to. Now, I look at it as like, I don't want to jail adulterers necessarily, right? I don't think that that's like a valid use of state power. But I also don't cheat on my wife. So obviously, freedom is not my utmost personal value here. I do a bunch of things that are just, I don't act with license on. I don't drink. Really, I have like 2 drinks a month. Obviously I don't sleep with whomever I want to. I don't do whatever I want to. I spend time with my kids rather than, put them in daycare so I can go pursue some other kind of career. There's a bunch of things I choose not to do, or I just view as not possible, because of my view of them, my personal limitations, my personal morals. The one dude's got to get home or his wife will kill him. Yeah. A world without consequences is a dead world. And really, I don't want to paint the left improperly. It's not that they want no consequences whatsoever. It's that some consequences are viewed as unfair. Like, having to deal with pregnancy and birth is an unfair consequence of engaging in sex, right? So we should be able to eliminate those things which are viewed as unfair or unfairly limiting somebody's potential. And that's why systemic racism, that's why all that stuff is built, is the foundation on which the ideology is built. You have to go layers and layers and layers down to figure out what the heck they really believe and what is going on there ideologically, because it's such a complex semiological system. And to be honest, I think the right has never really viewed it that way, because they're operating on an honest level. They're operating on a level where, like, concepts are simple and have specific meaning. And that's just not the way that the left operates. They don't operate with simple, specific meaning. They operate with complex, directed meaning that's directed towards a whole host of things. You know, the idea of an unfair consequence really is so complex, we can't properly communicate it. That's why you can't meme something about, like, a woman needing an abortion. It just doesn't make sense. It's impossible, because it's not a simple concept. It's built upon so many different things. It just won't make any sense to try to do it. Delayed gratification is a foreign concept to the left. The left is all about the cuckold thing these days. They are, and they promote it. But it's part of the libertine. It's like, hey, your wife should be able to bang other dudes, and you should be happy about it because she's exercising her personal license and freedom. She's exploring life to the utmost and enjoying what the maximum possible limits of life, and you should be happy for that. And whenever I see a dude say something like that, and you see him, like, get put up to it, there's, like, this hollow look in his eyes. Like, he just looks defeated, miserable, like he wants to kill himself. It's like, no, we don't operate like that. It's like, you know, adultery should be intolerable for most people. We're selfishly monogamous, most people, and it just seems abhorrent to think of it otherwise. And the libertarian might say, I guess you can do that if that's what you want to do, but we only really can say that when we have a society where that's kind of the exception, not the norm, because ultimately our social bonds that kind of restrict people's ability to act with that kind of license get broken down over time, and then you end up with chaos. And the chaos becomes just a hell. It becomes hell for most people. You have to have a pretty culturally unified society for that kind of libertine stuff to be permitted in the margins. And that's the way it's historically been in the U.S. Libertarians arguing in the 60s were arguing for people in the margins to be able to live their life the way they wanted to. Now those people are no longer in the margins. They're right in our faces. And then it becomes a different cultural issue. And the political value thing just doesn't really matter as much anymore. The left's version of liberty extends to polygamy and rampant drug use, but stops when it comes to a man's right to bear arms or educate his children at home. Well, the man's right to bear arms is unfair. You know, they'd say there is no right to bear arms. There's just, like, you could use those arms to end someone's right to life, and that's bad, right? Whereas the left would be, no, I use these arms to protect my right to life. They're inversions of each other. The cuckold thing is just another mating strategy. Weak men think it will provide continued access to women, but it simply lowers respect for them, and eventually she will leave. It's counterproductive, yeah. Every white person's part of this nebulous power structure, even the homeless guy under a bridge. Yeah, well, if you're white, you've inherited the privilege of the power. And so you have to use the social institutions and you have to use the government institutions to, you know, counteract that power to allow somebody else to have more license, more freedom, more personal ability to do whatever they want to do. So that's kind of the big motivator there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call the stream here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and chatting about this stuff and watching. I really enjoyed this little segment of the game. And I like Eris's voice. I'm going to look up who the voice actress is. It's very familiar to me. I think I've heard her in another game. That kind of faux sweetness definitely is like comes off as very awkward, which I think that's something that you see a lot in like manga and anime. They make the girl a little bit awkward, and it makes her more endearing. And it's something you can use if you're an author or you're writing something. We find awkward women to be lovable. Awkward men, not as much. This is the difference between the way the sexes are perceived. A woman who's awkward, a man will not see her as that being a problem. He'll view her as kind of cute, and if she's clumsy, that just means maybe she needs more of his help, and it kind of endears her to him. So awkward women are sometimes endearing to men, depending on how they're presented. That's not really the case with women. If you want to make a really attractive male character, you're not going to make him that awkward. You might give him a couple of moments of awkwardness to humanize him, but in general, he's not going to be an awkward character. You can look at, say, I mean, there's far too many examples. One of the things they'll do is they'll maybe have an embarrassing moment for the male, but that's going to be it. With the woman, you can have her being constantly like tripping over her own feet, and then the man just likes her better for it. It's a weird thing. I don't really know why every detail like that ends up being part of that endearing process, but it comes out as kind of kawaii, kind of cute. So I think they kind of did that with her. All right. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.